sanctified. Glacier Bay. A man's platinum ring engraved with the inscription, "To Steve, love forever, Jocelyn," has led to the solution of a grisly mystery. National Monument officials have now confirmed reports that the fragmentary human remains recently discovered at the terminus of Tirku Glacier are those of members of a botanical research party killed in a 1960 avalanche. The ring, found in association with a small number of bone fragments and some tattered items of clothing and equipment, was identified by Robert Fisk of Boise, Idaho, as belonging to his brother Stephen Fisk, a member of the ill-fated Tirku survey team. The ring had been a gift from his fiancée, Jocelyn Yount, also killed in the avalanche. According to A.D. Stutfield, monument supervisor, the remains washed out of the glacier after being locked in the ice since 1960. "They may have been lying out in the open for months," he said. "It's not an area that gets much in the way of foot traffic." A skeletal identification expert has subsequently identified the bones as those of Fisk and James Pratt, both graduate students at the University of Washington. No trace of Miss Yount is believed to have been recovered. Reached at his home in Seattle by telephone, the expedition director, Professor Melvin A. Tremaine of the University of Washington, said that he was too overwhelmed with emotion by this new development to offer meaningful comment. Tremaine himself was trapped in a glacial crevasse for 21 hours in the avalanche's aftermath. The assistant director, Dr. Anna M. Henkel, was unavailable for comment. Chapter 1. Glacier Bay Lodge, September 10th, 1989. "I think it only fitting," Professor Tremaine said, rising with a feline grace not often seen in a man of 69. "I think it only fitting that we conclude our first dinner together with a toast." He inclined his handsome, scarred face downward, while the waiter glided noiselessly around the table with a towel-wrapped magnum of Pieper Heidsieck, the third of the evening. When each of the 6 fluted glasses had received its portion of champagne, Professor Tremaine lifted his head. With a tanned and graceful hand, he casually brushed back the lock of thick, strikingly white hair that fell so often and so artlessly over his brow. His lean shoulders under the cashmere jacket were squared, his back straight. He raised his glass. "To the memory of 3 young people," he said, "3 brave young people who gave their lives, so full of promise, in the pursuit of the advancement of human knowledge. To Jocelyn Yount, to Stephen Fisk, to James Pratt. We who remain behind, remain and grow old, we salute you." He made as if to speak further, then stopped with a small shake of his head and raised his glass. 5 glasses besides his own were raised. 5 throats besides his own gurgled with champagne. Here and there an eye glistened. It was a poignant moment, a moment satisfactorily replete with memories and emotions. It would, Professor Tremaine thought serenely, make a moving opening to his book, far better than the one he'd been planning. In mid-September of 1989, in a warm and pleasant dining room, I looked out, gazed pensively out, across a chill, gray Bartlett Cove, toward the ice-choked inlet, where it had all happened so many years ago. I raised my glass. "To the memory of 3 young people," I said, "3 brave young people who—" His train of thought interrupted. Professor Tremaine scowled. "What?" No one responded, but he knew what he'd heard. "What a crock of shit," somebody had said. And unless he was very much mistaken, it had been uttered in the distinctly Teutonic tones of the eminent Dr. Anna M. Henkel. The subsequent angry thump with which Professor Tremaine set his glass on the table was not quite loud enough to carry to the far end of the Glacier Bay Lodge dining room. There, at the only other occupied table, actually 4 tables pushed together, sat 12 men and 2 women.